This is another story of Ricky. If you've seen the previous video, the misbehaving boy, he's trying to make amends. So here it goes. The doorbell rang. I answered. I stared at a bike. "I'm sorry, Ricky," I said. "You want me to go riding with you, but nuns are not allowed to ride bicycles." It must have been clear to him why. But I demonstrated by brushing a hand over my gabardine habit with its 3-inch deep pleats that fell to my ankles. I also swished my rosary beads that dangled from my heavy leather belt. For good measure, I fluffed my voluminous cape designed to conceal evidence of my womanhood. Finally, I straightened my long black veil with its starched white coif that made people wonder if nuns had either hair or ears. Frustrated by my response, he kicked the bike. "It cost me 50 cents, he said. I knew that for him, 50 cents was a veritable fortune. I doubt that he even had breakfast most mornings, and I wasn't sure how many days he had lunch. Suddenly, I felt an explosion in my brain. Why not have some fun for a change? What harm could there be in a little ride around the playground? Without a word, I tucked my rosary beads into a pocket, pulled my skirt up, and tucked it in behind my waist. Then I climbed on. "Let's cruise," I said. I indicated the parking lot that separated the convent school complex from the church rectory complex. "Just for a few minutes, though," I said, "because I have to go to a meeting." We both began to pedal, first slowly, then faster and faster. The wind caught my veil like a furled sail. It was spring. I was Ricky, 12 years old again, in love with life, with the thrill of defying gravity. I could smell the clover that grew right up to the edge of the pavement. I forgot all about time, about the imminent meeting at the mother house, even about being a nun. I was free as the wind. Ricky and I were both free. We laughed into the wind as we accelerated into a curve. And then it all came to a grinding halt. The ride was over. I looked down. "Ricky!" I directed his attention to my skirt, a twisted ball in the chain. "What are we going to do?" I stared at the partially chewed black wad of fabric. This was my Sunday best gabardine. While I yanked at the gabardine, Ricky tried to move the pedal forward, then back, forward, back. It was useless. The habit was ruined. My taste of freedom was at an end. The teeth of the chain held me prisoner. Just then I spotted a teenager walking in our direction. He was on the sidewalk at the far end of the parking lot. I waved and shouted. When he saw our plight, he came running. A minute later, Sister Margaret Mary came out of the convent door to get the car keys from the parish priest. Because our vow of poverty forbade owning a car, we usually borrowed the pastor's when we had to travel any distance. Short distances we walked. "Oh my goodness," she yelled, clapping a hand over her mouth. "What happened?" She didn't seem to know if she should laugh or cry. I shrugged my shoulders. "I don't know. I was trying to be careful." Quickly, she assessed the situation and made a decision. "There's only one thing to do. We'll have to cut." Beads of perspiration ran down my face. "Cut? No, absolutely not. Anything but that." Frantically, I yanked and twisted some more, but that only made matters worse. "I can't believe you said cut. Do you have any idea what that word means?" A nun's habit was sacred. When it was worn out, it had to be burned. Cutting was considered a sacrilege. In fact, using it for any purpose other than as a habit was strictly forbidden. "There has to be some other way to get me out," I moaned. I looked from the boys to her. She shook her head. "It's either that or spend the rest of your life chained to a bicycle." She burst into laughter, her sense of humor getting the best of her. It was one of the reasons I liked her. Together we had endured 4 years of formation, years deliberately designed to weed out the weak and pusillanimous. Her sense of humor had helped all of us who had survived. She was halfway to the convent already when she called back. "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." I knew that whatever she was about to do, we would have to do it quickly, because the others would be coming any minute now. It was time to leave for the mother house. The convent door was about to close behind her when she shouted again. "Get yourself into the priest's garage. I'll meet you there in a minute." I yelled after her, "Stall the others if you can." The two boys managed to transport the wreckage, one carrying me, the other carrying the bicycle. A pair of scissors and my poplin habit in hand, Sister returned, prepared to operate. "You'll have to leave," she said, addressing the boys who now stood so closely they would be sure to see everything. No doubt they expected this would be a moment of revelation. They would find out at last if nuns had ears or not, hair or not. They stood firm, their eyes wide with anticipation. "Shoo!" she said, nudging them toward the door. "We have no time to lose." Before closing the door behind them, she gave them an order. "Watch the back door of the convent. As soon as you see the sisters coming, give us a holler." Giggling, they left. After laying my poplin on the hood of the priest's car, she went to work on me. "I'm afraid this pair of scissors is dull, but it'll have to do." She hacked away in the same spot a half dozen times before the fabric actually gave way. My costly gabardine habit was beginning to look as if something or someone had tried to eat it, stretching and shredding it in spots before spitting it out in a greasy mess. The work of disengagement was completed amazingly fast, considering the difficulty of the task. Sister Margaret Mary helped me step out of my profaned Sunday gabardine. Standing in my regulation pinstriped petticoat and t-shirt, I bowed to make it easier for her to ease the poplin over my head. She suppressed another giggle. "Easy for you to laugh," I said. "You're not the one who's in trouble." Even though she tried to keep the matter a secret between us, my crime was discovered before the day was out. My first mistake had been to raise my hand to answer a question. My penance was to rescue the scraps of fabric, clean them, sew them back onto the skirt, and then wear that patchwork quilt of a habit for the next 3 years. Sister Daniel was really good at suiting the punishment to the crime.